Welcome to the Motivated Martial Arts Podcast. Your hosts, Jackson White and Gavin Cook, have been friends and Taekwondo training partners for over 40 years. This podcast will bring you a mixture of their life stories, martial arts, and business experiences to motivate you in life and throughout your martial arts journey. Adding in a mixture of inspiring interviews and some of the best traditional martial artists around today. So over to your hosts, the Motivated Martial Artists.
Welcome to the Motivated Martial Artists Podcast with me, Gavin Cook.
And me, Jackson White.
And here we are again for season 3. And we've got Victoria Foote on the show today. Hello, Victoria. Great, thanks for coming on.
Hi, Gavin. Hi, Jackson.
Hi, Victoria.
Thanks for coming on at short notice. I know it was a bit of a whirlwind to get you on this evening. So Victoria runs Ninja Tots and Kids in Cirencester. And we're just talking off air about looking at possibly doing a bit of rebranding this year. But we'll delve into that in the show, Victoria. So, Jackson, do you want to kick off with a question?
Yeah, sure. Well, great to have you on at last, Victoria.
Oh, thank you.
No, so I normally start off asking the first question. So just to give our listeners a bit of an insight into you, can you tell us all about your background, where you grew up, your education, home life, and which ultimately leads in how you got into martial arts?
Right. So background. I grew up in Croydon in Surrey until I was 16, and then moved to Chippenham in Wiltshire and lived there with my parents until I went off to university. And while I was living in Chippenham, I got introduced to Taekwondo through one of my very good friends who I'm still very close to, who is called Julie Smith. She introduced me to Taekwondo and we started together. We were 17 when we started. And when I went to university, I still carried on with Taekwondo. In fact, I actually set up a Taekwondo club as part of the university, which is still going now.
Yeah.
And while I was at university, also took my black belt. And when I left university, got a full-time job, and still carried on with Taekwondo, still studied martial arts. And basically in 2002, I was introduced into a seminar, which was being hosted by Melody Shuman at the time. She's now called Melody Johnson.
Awesome. Yeah, sure.
She came over to the UK from America. And at that time, I wasn't an instructor in Taekwondo. I was a student with a job. My instructor asked me to go along to this seminar. Didn't really know much about it apart from it was to do with teaching children.
Yeah.
And at that time, back in those days, there wasn't that many children going to those classes. It was mostly adults.
Yeah,
so
it's probably an 80-20 split pretty much for adult, or even 90-10. You just didn't see kids, did you, at all?
No. But yeah, the concept of teaching kids was quite alien to me. But I thought I'd go along and give it a go. And she absolutely blew my mind. Her idea of teaching a specific curriculum to children, and at that time it was called Little Ninjas, and it was for 3 to 6 year olds. And it just amazed me that it was possible to have a separate program for 3 to 6 year olds that was going to teach them martial arts, entertain them, and keep them interested. So I went away from that seminar, decided to become a full-time instructor, started teaching adult Taekwondo, and also started running the Little Ninja program. And I'm proud to say I was one of the first instructors in the UK to do that.
Okay, so can we cycle you back, because you've jumped way forward there and probably missed out a little bit about yourself that we're keen to understand. So just take us back to your first Taekwondo lesson. So you say you went with your best friend. So what can you tell us about that first lesson then?
Yeah, I actually remember it really well. So yeah, it was in Chippenham, and with Don Deedigan. He was my instructor, and I remember going along to, so there was me and my friend, we were 17 years old. We went along to this class, mostly full of men. I think there was maybe another woman there, or a teenager, I should say. And we were late. That's the first thing. We walked in late. So the first thing that happened was we had to do press ups. So we did press ups. The thing is, I couldn't actually do a press up. So I managed to do half a press up. I got down, but I couldn't get back up again. So that lesson will always stay in my mind because of the fact that we were late. We were wearing jewelry. So we got penalized for that as well, and made to do press ups that we couldn't do. So we started really well. It was great. You know, we started on the right foot straight away at that first lesson.
That's the standard punishment, though, isn't it? Standard punishment for martial arts classes globally. You know, you turn up late, you get press ups, or you stand in sitting stance for sitting stance for 10 minutes.
It didn't put us off, though. You know, we actually, in some strange way, we quite liked it. It was like, this is a bit different. You know, we liked the fact that we were, you know, being challenged as teenagers, and I have to say that, you know, Don Deedigan was amazing as an instructor to two young teenage girls. He was really, we felt we were treated very equally, and that's why I like Taekwondo, because I felt as if it was an equal sport for men and women. There wasn't, you know, one wasn't better than the other.
Wasn't positively or negatively discriminated against.
Yeah, so I felt that I could do as well with men, and that was one of the first sports that I'd encountered that.
Okay.
I mean,
and that's why
it attracts so many people, though, doesn't it? That element of it. You know, you could be a millionaire, you could be a pauper, or you could be a director of a big company, or you could just be, you know, no matter what you are, you put a white suit on and you stand in line with everyone else, and you're just equal, aren't you? The boundaries are very clear. You know, the boundaries are very clear. This is what you do. This is what you get from it. You're late, you get press ups. You know, you do well, you pass your gradings. You got, you know, it's very simple, isn't it? You know, and everyone. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it's funny thinking back then as well. One of the reasons I started Taekwondo was to get fit, but very quickly I grew to love it very quickly. Ended up training 4-5 times a week, and then I started competing quite soon once I started doing my gradings. And I think it's yellow belt, you're allowed to start doing competitions. So I started competing, really enjoyed that.
So without giving your age away, what year was that?
Oh, I think it was 91. Okay. In fact, it was 91. It was, 1991 it was.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good year for Taekwondo with the World Championships.
In Leicester.
That's it, yes. Granby Halls.
I was there.
Really?
I was watching, yeah.
Do you remember the demo?
Which one?
I'm sure that was the demo, wasn't it? When you had Grandmaster Oliver, Mr. Sergiu, and Grandmaster Donnelly, I think, they were all dressed up in their suits, weren't they? In their suits and the bow ties. Yeah. I'm sure that was the one.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
Good competition. Yeah, it was good competition. I was competing in that. I was 15. I just 15, maybe 16, and I just moved up to the men's division from a junior, and got battered basically by Paul Dombier.
Gavin's claim to fame. Paul Dombier.
Paul Dombier smashed me up basically. Yeah.
I don't think the Granby Halls are there anymore, are they?
No, they've been knocked down. Oh God, knocked down years ago. Yeah. So you like the fitness, you like the discipline piece, and the fact that it was equal. What else? What kept you going back week after week? Because, you know, certainly when I started Taekwondo in 74, 75, you know, it was just a man's sport, and it was just drill after drill, up down in the line, repetitiveness. So what was it that kept you going?
Well, I mean, as I said, I had my best friend with me. So it was, you know, we were motivating each other, keeping each other company, but also it was a really sociable club. There was, you know, there was a lot of people similar ages to us. You know, we ended up doing a lot of social things as well. And when you're 17, 18, you know, that's a really, you know, important age. You know, it shapes your life really, what you do and who you surround yourself with. So I'd had a lot of positivity at that time from role models who attended that club, and that's really what I enjoyed. And also I did well. I was doing well. You know, all my gradings I was getting the A, I think was it A star or A grading? I can't remember now. Yeah, so I was getting the top grade. I was getting grading awards. I was doing really well at competitions. So I had all these motivating factors that was making me feel good about me, making me feel empowered. My confidence grew. So it's all of those reasons, really. I enjoyed it. Yes, it was strict. Yes, there was discipline. But actually, I quite like that. You know, that's what martial arts is about. And you have to expect that, really. Yeah, so really martial arts has been part of my life since age 17, and it's never stopped.
What were some of your best achievements on the competition circuit then, Victoria?
Okay, I mean, yeah, I've got, you know, English champion, British champion, I've got all that, but I suppose my best achievements really is not necessarily what I've won, but you know, I took part in an Olympic trial, for instance. And that was quite a journey in itself, as you can imagine. Just not the actual physical journey of getting there in a car, but
was that the fighting chance one? Was that one of the fighting chance ones?
No,
this was
up in Scotland. We had to travel. I mean, a funny story. Obviously, there's a lot of obstacles put in front of you when you're in a particular association, and it's not part of the Olympic body.
Yeah.
And so it was made quite a hard journey for us to even get to that particular venue. But then we went all the way up to Scotland. So there was a group of us that traveled all the way up to this hall, this leisure centre, and I ended up having to compete against my teammate that could have, you know, we could have done this down in the southwest where I'm from.
Yeah.
But and in the end, neither of us actually got selected anyway. So it was never going to happen. But, you know, I'm proud to say that at least I made that journey. I attempted it. I made the effort. So yeah, and I took part in World Championships. I got selected for the England team, so I represented England on numerous occasions. So all of those things, I'm just proud of a lot. I'm proud of everything really, and all the people that supported me and helped me along my way. And there's lots of people that were there for me. So yeah, I'm just glad that, you know, everything that I've done, everything that I've been through, all my experiences have led me to where I am today.
Sure.
So I'm grateful for that, good and bad.
Yeah, it's one of those things that we talk about on the show a lot. Is the thing with martial arts? It teaches you to, one, obviously to put yourself out of your comfort zone a lot, which is, you know, so important, especially in life in general, isn't it? And to teach yourself to overcome mini failures all the time is basically what you're doing in the martial arts journey, isn't it? From when you first walk in the dojo and get those press ups for being late, to taking your first grade in, to going your first competition, because you don't just become awesome overnight. You know, you have to take those little steps and those little failures all the way through. And I think as martial artists, that's what keeps us driven and keeps us pushing forward, isn't it? For the next thing, you know, like you say, you know, you sort of went from just being a student to now an instructor, and it's like, what's next after that? I suppose that's what you're always thinking, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So with the martial arts, can you talk us through one of your major fails? That's always quite interesting to understand what that was, and certainly what you did to rectify it.
I think Jackson should tell you his biggest one first, though. He loves telling the story, doesn't he, Jackson?
Partnering up with Gavin on a podcast is probably my main one I can really think of. That springs to mind this evening.
I suppose my major fail, this is a little bit of a touchy subject, really, in that I probably stayed too long and put up with too much with the association that I was in.
Okay.
And I should have left a long time before I did and go on my own, because I've been on my own now for 10 years. I set up my own business. I'm an entrepreneur and I'm really happy. I have been out of the whole environment of being dictated to, and probably the major fail is not doing that sooner.
So this, we don't only obviously need to know about the association, but what was it that spurred you on to move on and reach out on your own?
I was just really unhappy, how things were being done, how I was being spoken to. I felt there was no respect from the other side towards me. Mm-hmm. I didn't feel valued. Basically, when you're being told to do things in a certain way, but you're having to pay money to people who you don't feel like are treating you fairly, it starts to wear thin. And in the end, I just made a brave decision and walked away from everything that I had grown up with as a student and then an instructor. I don't regret being part of that, because it taught me how to be an instructor.
Sure.
All those people.
Part of the journey, isn't it?
It's part of the journey.
Growing up.
Yeah, but my biggest fail probably was just that I stuck with it for too long. I should have walked away earlier, and because I've been much more successful now than I have been, all that time before.
Sure.
I think sometimes as well, though, when you go through as an entrepreneur, you're always getting told when you're young, you're always getting told that hard work pays off. Keep working hard and you'll pay off, which is actually not true, is it? You can work if hard work paid off for everybody, then everybody will be successful, wouldn't they? Because most people work hard, just maybe in the wrong areas. And you get told all these things, and one of the things maybe you get told is to stick with it. You've got to stick with it, but actually sticking with the wrong thing is not always the right thing either, is it? I know a lot of people who are in the same job, and they've been in the same job for 40 years, and they've left and I wish I'd not been doing this, but that's what I was taught to. You go to school, you get a job, you stick with it, and I suppose it's the same sort of thing. It's quite hard sometimes to break away, isn't it?
And that's why I've been married 3 times.
You know what? I mean,
sometimes it's easier to walk away.
like I said, in the early days, it was very supportive. It was very encouraging, and I had the people around me that did that. But things change, and it changed, and
you changed as well,
and I changed as well, and when I left, I wasn't being supported, I wasn't being encouraged, so it was definitely time to go. And touching what you said about work hard and it pays off, yeah, right now I'm working the hardest I've ever worked in my entire life, but I'm surrounded by the right people. I'm surrounded by, I've got a coach right now. I have a business coach. So I took a business coach on in April April this year. Ron Graziano from SKILLZ in the USA. The most fantastic person. I haven't actually met him in person yet because we haven't been able to travel, but I speak with him every week. I'm surrounding myself with people who know what they're doing. They've been there, they've done it. I've got connections with Melody, Mike Evans, John, all from SKILLZ. all supportive, all encouraging. I'm working really, really hard, and it is paying off. So,
or maybe it's not that you're working harder, maybe you make working smarter, right?
Working smarter,
and
working with intentional purpose, as Ron
and you've also got people now in your corner, if you like, who have walked that path before you. So that makes it a lot easier, doesn't it? Because you're not having to make those mistakes by yourself. You're working with people who have already probably made a lot of those mistakes and then can pass that knowledge on. And I think it is so important. I mean, again, it's something we talked about on the show before about having a coach or having role models and mentors. You wouldn't, your students wouldn't become black belts without you, and you wouldn't have become a black belt without your instructor. And you need someone, just as you do in the sports environment, you need someone in the business environment to coach you, because you've got to be careful who you pick, I think, sometimes. Because there's a lot of people out there wanting, post themselves as mentors. I think you've got to look at and say, well, where do I want to be, in the next 5 years? Who's already walked that path, and who can I, and who can I copy, basically.
So going back to earlier in the year, when I first started working with Ron, at the same time, I also had a nutrition coach who I was working with. I also had a life coach.
Should give Gordon a call. Gordon would have sorted you out.
Well, I did. He was too busy. and I obviously I belong to a local gym, which I go to 5 times a week. So the fitness side is fine, but I wanted to cover all bases. I decided after the year that we had, I was really going to go for it, make sure 2021 was the best year I could possibly make it. So I invested in myself. At the start of the year, I made that decision, and it's an important decision, and it was a serious one as well, and it's worked. The business side of things is, even in the last 6 months, things have changed dramatically for me. I'm expanding. It's going really as successful as I could possibly want it to go. My personal,
having that accountability, though, do you think it's having that accountability? Because now you've got to go back to your coach on every week, and they'll say, well, right, Victoria, what have you done this week, or what have you done this month? And you don't want to sit there and say, well, actually, you know what, I haven't done anything this week.
Yeah, we spoke about it, but I didn't bother implementing it or taking that action.
Do you know what? He's so good that like, we communicate on Messenger. We have a once a week Zoom meeting. Have an hour a week Zoom meeting. We go through what I've done in the last week. We check on Facebook adverts. We look at the numbers of students I've currently got, what my targets are, and then he'll message me in the week, and I'll be like doing something, and the little message will come on my phone. It will say, Victoria, this was amazing. Make sure you're doing this, and he's pointing me in the right direction. Or if I've done something really well, if he's seen something on Facebook, he said that was really good. Make sure you share that on every Facebook group. So it's great. It's, yes, so there is accountability there. But actually, I feel as if I'm being accountable to myself. So I've got that ownership. And also, I've got 2 kids now, and, my daughter's 14. And the way I look at it is, my business is a family business. So that it's there for her if she wants to be involved. Now, she doesn't have to be. If she wants to do something else, that's entirely up to her. I'm not going to make her become involved with martial arts. But if she wants to, it's there. And I feel proud that I can do that for my child.
It's funny.
It's a great thing, isn't it? I mean, that's something I know I've certainly done with my daughters. And interestingly enough, one of them still teaches for me. Now, the other one has decided it's not for her, but she still trains every now and then. But then it leads them on to other things. So now she does a lot of the administration, and she's responsible for the junior classes within my school. I know you've got a similar type of thing going with yourself, haven't you, Gavin?
Yeah, so Harry, my son, he's 16 now, he's just left school. He didn't really know what he wanted to do after school. So I said, well, look, you've been doing Taekwondo with me since you were 5. You've been teaching in the class since you were sort of 7, 8, 9, 10, just getting involved with the teaching. So why don't you go down that road? So we've managed to get him on an apprenticeship, like a coaching apprenticeship. And now he's basically working with me, helping me with after school clubs and lunchtime clubs within schools. And already just by having him there by my side, it sort of gives me a bit more accountability to make sure the clubs are growing and we're going in the right direction. And we've reached out to a lot of schools, and the schools like, yeah, great, because they know Harry. Some of the schools he went to school. They say, oh yeah, get him in, and he can run a ninja class for the kids or whatever. And it's great. I mean, like I say, it might not be what he does forever, but even doing it for a year and just getting that confidence of standing up in front of people day in, day out, it's great for them, isn't it?
So my daughter, she was 2.5 when she started with us. She was part, right at those early days when we started teaching
Ninja Tots,
the little ones,
yeah.
So she was, so she's 14 now, so she's obviously been involved for a long time. And like you've done with your son, she's actually been helping us in the classes for quite a long time now, quite a few years. She's part of the Storm team that I run here, a special team of role models. We ran summer camp this year for the first time. She was one of our young leaders for summer camp. I got so much positive feedback about her. She's really caring. She's a real caring child. So, as careers go, she'd be brilliant as a teacher. I could see her as a primary school teacher because she has that way about her. But recently, in terms of paid work, we have actually started that a little bit with her because she's been helping with birthday parties. Yep. So she's been going along and assisting running birthday parties, and she gets some money for that, a little bit of pocket money, I should say, rather than employment. So so we're paying it that way.
Employer in your business.
Yeah. So no, she enjoys it. That's the main thing. And but as I say, it's there. And as I expand and the classes expand, it's possible that she may want to take on a responsibility of running something.
Well, do you know, certainly for my daughter, she took that mantle on as she went through university. So rather than having to go out and waiter on or stack shelves, and she did a bit of that as well during COVID. But actually, whilst the classes were running, I was employing her, to take some of the junior classes and also do a lot of the administration side to learn the administrative side of the business and the marketing side. And now she's doing her master's in digital marketing. So hopefully that will come in useful.
Yeah, we need her, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
But I totally understand what you're saying. Though it's nice that you've got that platform to give them. You've got your own business. You built your own business from scratch, and it's a nice feeling, isn't it, to feel as though that you could actually open doors for them because of maybe the hard work that you had to put in the early days. And it is hard graft. There's no doubt about it. Any small business, in the early days, you have to work hard, and then eventually it's that snowball effect, isn't it? It just builds a bit of momentum, and when you've been established in an area a while, you tend to find that you get new students just come and start with you because they hear your reputation and they know that you're the place to go, really.
It's funny, I got a little smile there because I was thinking of both my children. I've been pregnant, carried them whilst teaching, so they've been involved in Taekwondo in my classes forever. It's great though. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about. So you mentioned Ninja Tots. You're an early pioneer of that. So you mentioned that how you met them. What have you found about the program that you've really embraced?
So, I mean, in the early days when it was Little Ninjas, and that was for the 3 to 6 year olds, I ran that for years and years and years. And then as I've always kept a close eye on what Melody was doing, because I've always felt that she was the authority in children's martial arts. So even though she's over in the United States, and obviously I'm based here in the UK, I was always interested in following in what she was saying, her research, because she does a lot of research on child development. And everything is done properly with Melody. It's all properly researched before any of the programs are sent out publicly. So I was really happy with the little ninja program. And when I decided to add on another age group for children, I went and had a look and see what she was doing. And you know, what she's done is also grown organically. So she delved even further into the science behind children and how they learn, and she reduced the age groups even more. So you know, rather than, I mean, you'll know that once upon a time a children's class was sort of age 7 to 12.
Well,
you know,
even today we see instructors that come to us, and they don't separate children. They expect them to learn the syllabus exactly the same as an adult, and they throw them all in the same class. Then we have other instructors that they have children's classes. They just teach the adult syllabus without any adults being around. So I think, you know, if there's one thing that SKILLZ certainly has taught myself, and I'm not going to put words in your mouth, Gavin, but probably yourself as well, is actually the child development at each stage of the child. So the age is a direct reflection of the stage of mental and numerous other areas of development, which actually, if you can group those children together, you can specifically focus on that area of development, which then is much more beneficial for the child.
Yeah, so everything that you just said is beneficial for the child, beneficial for the families, and also beneficial to the schools they go to, because those children are, you know, they're learning from what I'm teaching them, from what other SKILLZ instructors are teaching. They're motivated, they're enjoying sport, they're enjoying exercise, they're making friends with other children, becoming part of that environment, and they've also got role models to learn from as well. But just touching on what you were saying at the start about what I enjoyed about SKILLZ, or back then Little Ninjas, was just, you know, it was fun. It was fun for me to teach. I could see that the children were enjoying it as well. But from a business perspective, the retention level was amazing. That I've got children. I've got one girl now who's celebrating 10 years this year with me.
Right, good.
So we're going to do a bit of a celebration for her this year, and I just think that is astounding. She's going to be 14 next year.
And just out of interest on that individual, how is that reflected in her academic and educational studies that she's developed with you?
So she's also on our Storm program. So she's also going through leadership roles and qualities. So she's at secondary school, obviously because of her age. And in terms of her motivation, she's a very motivated child. She's very sociable. I'd say she was very confident. Obviously she's a good leader because she's also assisting in the classes. She was also part of our summer camp. She was also a young leader. So yeah, the positive effects on children is amazing. So basically, to jump many years, I became part of SKILLZ as a licensed member in 2018. So
you must be one of the first in the UK then, Victoria, if not the first, were you?
I wasn't the first. I believe Gordon was before me, but
okay.
Gordon and I had followed Melody more or less at the same time. We actually travelled over to America to go to their conference. We've been a couple of times now. I actually went over to the SKILLZ conference before I was even a SKILLZ member, because I did my research. I wanted to see what it was about. And I also, importantly, wanted to know who the people were who were involved.
Yeah.
because if I'm buying into something, I need to know and trust the people who I'm going to be listening to and learning from. Obviously, I knew Melody, so I didn't have a problem there at all. But there's other people involved in SKILLZ as well. But I got to know those people. You know, they're really great people. And although you could say there will be some people in the UK that perhaps would feel uncomfortable being part of a US company, and they do things differently to us, they do say things differently to us, but there's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, I find it really positive. I find that the language they use is so upbeat, whereas we can be quite reserved.
Yeah, that's the British way, isn't it? Very reserved.
British way. And you know, the first couple of times I went over there, I found it a little bit overwhelming. And also, and this is no disrespect to the Americans, but it's very financial. It's very much about how much success, about how much people are making in money. Whereas we're not really about that here. We're more, you know, we're not talking about how much money we've made. Or
I think we're definitely becoming more like that, though. We're definitely becoming more like that now because of social media.
There's more people like that now.
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable talking about the financial side of things in terms of success. I actually prefer
that's being quite British again, isn't it? You know, I do business not just in martial arts but globally, and we are very reserved when we talk about pricing, we talk about negotiations. You know, it's something that we tend to shy away from. Where other nations, most nations that I work with outside of Europe, you know, negotiations is all about, you know, being robust. It's about putting things on the table and then taking them back off again.
I suppose, you know, at the end of the day, that is business, isn't it? You know, you have to make a profit. Otherwise, why do it? You know, if it's not for charity, why? You know, if this is what you're doing for a living, you've got to make a living.
There needs to be an element of that, I believe. Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong in doing that. And again, Ron, you know, that was one of the things we had to overcome in the early stages, because I felt uncomfortable talking about that. But he, you know, we're honest with each other, and you have to be when you're dealing with a business coach.
Sure.
But you can measure success in other ways as well.
So one question I have for you then. So you were an early pioneer on the Tots and Ninja Tots. How did you find it worked for you? How easy was it for you to implement those additional age groups into your syllabus? I know, you know, when you have a lot of instructors, you know, that we're talking to representing SKILLZ, when we talk to instructors in the UK, it's, oh, well, I run a Kung Fu or I run a Taekwondo syllabus. How am I going to implement? How easy is it to do? Now we know, but how did you find it?
I don't remember having an issue with it at all. I don't remember there being any complications. I just remember you know, obviously once I came away from that seminar in 2002, I spent about 6 months planning what I was going to do. So I didn't come back and straight away open a little ninja class. I planned, but there's a lot of planning involved when you're teaching children, because obviously it's a different syllabus. You need to know what you're doing before you walk into that class. You've got to prepare. You can't just turn up and decide on the day. You have to have class planners, the games. You need to know. You have to have the equipment with you, because children.
You mean you've got to be prepared? You've got to have preparation, something that a lot of martial arts instructors don't do. They go in and cuff it, don't they, or wing it?
Yeah. You can't do it. No. Kids will know, and they'll get bored, and you literally have to walk into that class and reel everything off for 45 minutes and keep everybody interested and all the children motivated. Because if you have to refer to something because you've forgotten what you're doing, the kids are going to either misbehave because they're bored, or they're going to just turn around to their parents and say, I didn't like that. It wasn't interesting. It wasn't fun. So yes, as teaching children, number one is prepare yourself and know what you're doing. And in that sense as well, you'll become confident teaching kids. It's, you know, funnily enough, last week, we launched a new day. So we've expanded, going back into school in September, and And I actually felt quite nervous for the first time in a long time, because it was a new day. I was meeting new children. And it's actually good to have those nerves again, because it makes you be better. It makes you be a better instructor.
Yeah, it does and it makes you want to be better.
Yeah, because I needed to impress those children, and I needed to impress those families, because I want those children to come back.
I mean, the thing that really stuck out for me as well with SKILLZ is, as an instructor, especially when you've been in the game a long time, you're the expert, aren't you? I mean, we could all say that myself, Jackson, and you, Victoria, we're all experts in what we do. We've all been in it a long time. But the expert is not always the best person to be the business owner, because you feel as though you can always do it better than everybody else, and you never, ever want to let go. Where the thing that, if you can implement SKILLZ in the right way, it allows you to be able to train your team the same way over and over. It's a franchise, almost like a franchise type model, where you can always teach the same person the same skills, like they do in McDonald's, right? When they're teaching a member of staff in McDonald's, you know, they know exactly where to get the cups, what uniform to wear, what to say, etc. And within those type of within the SKILLZ brand, you can bit by bit start building up your team to deliver what you want them to deliver. So then it gets it, you know, like you said, you know, they come prepared. They can learn what they, you know. I give to my son Harry and some of my black belt students. I say, right, you know, we're teaching tonight. We're teaching 3 and 4 year olds, teaching 5 and 6 year olds. Go and prepare the class, and they'll sit down for an hour and they'll go onto the syllabus. They'll have a list of drills that they're going to put together, and they can quite confidently then go into a class. Yes, it's hard to manage the kids. That takes time, doesn't it? That takes experience to know how to use the right voice inflection and the right tempo, and how to keep the kids engaged all the time. But the actual syllabus is all there, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, that's the other reason as well, becoming involved in SKILLZ, is that they've made my life so much easier. And also, you know, the time that I would have spent planning a class, that time I can spend on other things, like with my family, or, you know, going to my gym or something else. Because what I do is I just go onto the SKILLZ platform. I teach 4 classes. In terms of age groups, I have the 3 to 4, 5 to 6, 7 to 9, and 10 to 11-year-old classes. So each of those classes has their own individual class planner. All I do is I click on the syllabus. I go to whichever planner I want, click on that planner, and it's all there for me. So the warm-up is there, the skill itself is there, the mat chat, when you talk to the students about what you're actually covering in that lesson, the drills that we're going to be doing that are associated with that skill, then the warm down exercises, and the game is all there for me. I don't have to think about what I'm going to teach, because that's already been done, and that's part of what you're paying for when you become part of SKILLZ.
Yeah, of course.
So as a teacher to children, you just have to make sure that you can be the best that you can be to deliver that class, to make sure those children enjoy what SKILLZ have actually written for you. So yes, the onus is on me to make sure that I'm fun, that the children engage with me, but then I also have to put the time in to understand what it is that I'm teaching them. And the other thing that SKILLZ have done is they've videoed everything. So, you know, there is everything in black and white on that skill planner. But also, if you're not sure entirely what that actually means, you just click on the video. And the SKILLZ executives have gone through either the drill, so they've showed you how to play the game, or they've showed you how to do the warm-ups or the cool-downs. They've even videoed the games. So if you weren't sure how to play capture the flag, there's a video for it. And then we're also, you know, in terms of the children advancing through belts, There's also the skill testing requirements that we cover every lesson. And they've even come up with what the children need to be tested on for each belt. And there's videos for that too. So, and on top of that, you know, the skills community is brilliant. So there's the Facebook group, there's weekly executive meetings that you can watch. You can either watch live or watch once it's being posted, and that involves Melody and Mike and John and Kelly, and they discuss topics which are current, so it could have been about COVID, or, you know, recently they've been covering profit and loss. So it's I just find I feel that I am constantly training. I feel that I'm constantly advancing and improving as an instructor, but also as a businesswoman and an entrepreneur, because actually that's what I am.
Yeah.
You know, I am not a martial arts instructor. That is not what I am. I am
That's
a
just
child
one of your hats, isn't
expert.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I run my own business. So I've moved on and I've got a different mindset now.
Okay.
I definitely feel as if I'm where I should be right now.
It sounds to me like the coach has really changed your mindset and helping you grow, isn't it? He's
given me masses of confidence. Masses. I think if everybody could have a coach, I think it's a great thing.
It's the worst kept secret, isn't it? But people choose not to, which is a shame. You know, if you're not open-minded enough to, you know, reach out to somebody that can support you, then yeah, it's a challenge. So we're coming to the end of the podcast now, Victoria. It's been absolutely awesome speaking to you and hearing about your journey. So what we'd like to ask is, you know, being the motivated martial artist, what now is motivating you?
Whoa, okay. That's a really tough question.
Well, you should have listened to more of the podcast. You could have been prepared.
I've been too busy being an entrepreneur. I don't think there's anything different motivating me. I think my main motivation really is my family.
Okay.
Wanting to make sure that I can do the best for my children, making sure that I'm a good role model to them, and they see me working hard. You know, when my kids were at home during lockdown, my daughter was studying from home on her laptop. Her secondary school put really good at home learning in practice, and she would say to me, "Mummy, I've hardly seen you today." And I said, "Well, yeah, because Mummy's working. I'm working." And she didn't realise. Obviously, when they're at school, they don't see it, but when they're at home, then they suddenly see how much work you're doing. And that, I think that in itself is a good thing for kids to see.
Yeah, a lot of parents, you know, you don't see them at work, do you? You know, they go out, leave the house in the morning, and then they come back in the evening. They don't see that. Not,
you know, it's not a magic fairy that suddenly, you know, does all this stuff and it all appears. It's actually hard work. And also I do have that attitude of not giving up. I don't give up.
Determination,
I move on.
Determination, perseverance, all stuff that was ingrained in us right from those early Taekwondo days.
From that half a press up on that first lesson.
Half a press up that you didn't even manage to complete.
Yeah.
I hope you could do more than half a press up.
I can do
two now.
Yeah, I actually do press ups.
Yeah, I've doubled it.
Do you know what? I started going to a gym, and I'm doing CrossFit. I don't know if you've heard of CrossFit.
Oh no, never.
So now my press ups are actually chest to floor press ups, proper press ups, not these little up and down tiny movements.
Like Gavin does, little chicken pecks, like he's pecking up seed. Gavin still does those.
Should it? Right, Victoria. Listen, we need to wrap it up now, because I know Jackson's got a dinner date in about 2 minutes, I think. So you're really late.
Meeting.
Sorry, dinner meeting. That's what I meant. Okay. Okay, good. Thanks very much.
Absolute pleasure talking to you, Victoria. You're really good.
Thank you so much for asking me.
That's all right. We must try and catch up at some point. I know we won't be going to MegaCon this year. There's still no flights to the US, which is a shame. But maybe next year.
Yeah, I mean, all being well, as long as we can go, I'm going to go. Do you know,
we've cancelled our hotel twice now, so we're absolutely devastated.
I said to Ron, I'm only going to say this once, Ron. I'm absolutely gutted that I can't go this year because the lineup, the people that are going to be there, all right, I'm going to be sat on the other side of a screen watching it, but the networking I'm going to miss out on. I'm going to be like, I wish I was there. I want to be there, not here, not with this weather that's going on at the moment, but in that sunny Florida. But also it's going to be amazing, the people they've got going, and I'll learn a lot. I'll still sit here and learn, but I'll miss out on those important things that happen in between and before, and but hopefully we'll get that next year.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so Victoria, have a good evening.
I know you got to go, Jackson, but you two guys, you're still teaching the skills programs and
yeah, still actively teaching it, and like you say, that's that's basically what Harry's apprenticeship is built around.
Look on his wall, Victoria. Look on his wall. You always
there you go.
Oh yeah,
there you go. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. So in my club, it's what my junior instructors are really going to be working on, because like I said to you earlier on, it's something they can learn themselves. Yes, they've all got knowledge of martial arts, but that's the easy bit. It's understanding how to deliver it and how to plan your classes correctly and everything else. That's the hard bit.
But don't you think that all of those things, those the skills that they're learning are so transferable into
life, into
every
life.
Aspect of life. Yeah. And even they're studying, being disciplined and learning, and at school, and when they go to work eventually. These are important life skills that they're learning right now. How to communicate with people.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah.
Rather than being on their phones.
Right then, Victoria, I'm going to let you go. So thank you very much.
Yeah, no, thank you. Really nice to catch up with you.
I hope you all enjoyed this week's episode of the Motivated Martial Artist podcast. Don't forget to check out our Facebook page and our Facebook group, the Motivated Martial Artist podcast.
And don't forget also the Motivated Martial Artist Instagram page.
So head along for some extra content, interviews and much more.
So until next week, it's bye from Jackson
and Gavin,
the Motivated Martial Artists.